Good afternoon. We are the CCG Consulting Group.
I'm Cody.
My name is Chris.
And I'm Grant. We are a telecommunications management firm that focuses primarily on business analysis and strategic recommendations moving forward. We're here today to talk about the weather company, and I'll now turn it over to my colleague, Cody.
Alrighty, how's it going? I'm Cody. So the Weather Company, it started in 1978 as Weather Services International, WSI. The Weather Company then got into the Weather Channel, which emerged in 1982. The Weather Channel companies eventually became the Weather Company in 2012. That's where we are today. So, Weather Underground was acquired by the Weather Company in 2012 as well as Weather Central. And the Weather Company is based out of Atlanta, New York, San Francisco, Madison, Wisconsin, Andover, Massachusetts, and Birmingham, England. So, the products of the Weather Company, they have weather.com, which is, of course, as we should all know, their website. You go on there, type in whatever you want, whatever city you want, and you'll find the weather. The Weather Channel, which is their channel on TV for them. Then Weather Services International, which serves some of the biggest brands in aviation, energy, insurance, media, and federal and state government agencies. They deliver forecasts to those brands around the world. Then they have Weather Central, which provides weather data and production tools to the media industry. And Weather Underground, which provides real-time info via the internet. And then Intellicast. Intellicast delivers site-specific forecasts for 60,000 sites in the U.S. and around the globe. One of the top 5 weather sites on the internet. I'll turn it over to Grant to talk about the leadership.
So the leadership of TWC is relatively new in the grand scheme of things. David Kenny is the current chairman and CEO, and he came on board with the company in 2012 and has brought kind of a new life and a new direction to the company as a whole. One of the first things he did when he first took the helm of the company was guiding them through a change in kind of ideology, who they are and the products and their services, and kind of the strategic view of the company, where they wanted to go, their brand identity as a company and the organization as a whole. This change was taking the focus away from just TV with a few kind of ancillary other services to making weather forecasts the product that they offer. The product itself, they pride themselves as the best weather prediction in the world, and they offer this through many different channels. They've expanded to some digital markets. That was one of the primary things that Mr. Kenny, when he first took over the company, wanted to expand into. And they've changed this mindset from being just cable TV to providing more services, whether it's digital, international, things like that. And their product is no longer just the television, but expanded. Additionally, his goals and visions when he took over the company were to continue to be an advertising-supported company. They have a lot of their mobile app, for instance, relies on ad revenue, as well as some of their television channels bring in ads, commercials, things that route. Wanted to expand opportunities in weather-dependent products, including local forecasts, things that you have to have weather there. Let's expand to go a little bit deeper on the local area. As well as global expansion. As Cody mentioned, they have some international holdings and business relationships developed internationally. And they continue those and to expand those, as well as melding the scientific and creative cultures of the company together. The scientific side being the weather prediction, and the creative side being the way you package that for the actual client. Additionally, one of the things that the CEO did, Mr. Kenny, when he first came on board, was reshuffle some of the board membership as well as some of the executive leadership of his company. Without going through the entirety of the list here, a lot of the people he pulled from have great experience in the telecommunications industry, including Apple, Quattro Wireless, Microsoft, and Bing, some marketing stronghold people, executives he brought over from there, Viacom, as well as people from the broadcast area with Discovery and Turner Broadcasting. So the main problem that the Weather Company is facing right now is deciding their 3-year strategic plan and focus and what areas they want to be the primary ones that they dedicate their time and resources to. The 5 facets that they're trying to balance are digital, television, professional, international, and central services. These are all different kind of spokes of the company that make up the Weather Company as a whole. The two that they're focusing on that they'd like to do as the main focus of the company and then moving forward with the strategic plan is digital and television. And the two they're trying to balance here is what balance do they want to do of each? Can they do both at the same time? What are the pros and cons of each? And can they exist harmoniously together? Additionally, I do want to mention that on the digital side, they want to incorporate some international abilities there and expanding a little bit, but they don't know what capacity or exactly which way. Finally, the criteria they're using when making these decisions are listed on the screen behind me. The first, obviously, is cost. Money is a finite resource. They want a great return on investment. They've been quoted to say they spend millions, not billions, and they want to be self-funded. They don't want to incur debt to go through these changes. They want to make sure they are self-sufficient as a company, but don't spread themselves too thin and leave themselves vulnerable. And finally, the other thing they want to make sure they keep in mind is they're doing a smart allocation of the resource, whether that's human resources, capital resources, and financial things like that, as well as the technologies they own and the existing buildings and services they have and they're set up to provide. Next, Cody will talk a little bit about television, one of the two areas they're debating on focusing on primarily.
Thank you, Grant. So television, a few advantages of the television. People who don't have or use a smartphone really benefit from TV, especially when it comes to weather. Also, television brings great emergency broadcasts, like emergency responses. So like if there's a tornado warning or anything like that, it'll be brought up immediately on your TV screen. And also, on TV, on the Weather Channel, you have a meteorologist explaining the weather to you. It's also like a more in-depth look at weather of all kinds. You're not just on your phone looking at something and have to think of it for yourself. And also, they run more than just weather forecasts and stuff like that. They run shows like storm stories and other things like that. But there are weaknesses. You need a cable or satellite provider to access the Weather Channel, so there's costs with that. You need to watch the show or Weather Channel at certain times to access certain shows and certain information. And also, people can get weather from their smartphones and internet nowadays, so TV isn't needed as much as it was before. And Chris is going to talk to you about the digital.
All right, thank you very much, Cody. We'll be looking at the second focus that the weather company is looking at, which is the digital focus. A couple of the advantages that a digital focus has is that they have an increasing number of smartphone users every day, and that number has been exploding since 2009. There's extreme personalization that can be happening with those cell phone users. Since each user has their own device, they're able to personalize the applications, personalize advertisements, personalize activities, personalize everything that is related to weather. And one of the bigger advantages of this compared to a TV is that it is free for most people who have, is free for all people who have smartphones and tablets. Unfortunately, for the television, you do have to pay for a basic subscription of cable. Some weaknesses that we found for the focusing on a digital app is that emergency services that televisions provide aren't as readily as available. For example, if there were an Amber Alert or a tornado storm warning or disaster alerts, some TVs might be able to instantly give you the information, whereas phone users must open the app to be able to get the information. Unfortunately, your smartphone device must have an internet connection. It doesn't have to be a strong internet connection, but it just needs at least one internet connection to tap into the servers and get the information. And of course, a smartphone and tablet is required. We're going to be moving on to the user experience of the application. In this example, we'll be looking at the iPhone application. This one on the very left you see right here is being used on the iPhone right now. It is accessible on the iOS markets, and it is more personalized application that shows you a lot of information. As you can see here, the temperature degrees and the humidity, sunrise, sunset, everything a person would want to know is at the touch of their hand. The second diagram that we have here is Apple's iPhone 6 that has incorporated the Weather Channel widget with their phone, making it even easier for Apple users to use the application. What I like about this is that it comes default with every Apple user phone, so it means that the application's already there. All we have to do is just use it. And for the third diagram, we'll be looking at how there are multiple areas that you can be looking at. You can swipe left or right and see various areas. For example, if you have your grandmother who might be living in Los Angeles while you're living in New York, you could tell her that, hey, it's gonna be a little bit colder in Los Angeles, make sure to be warm, stuff like that. A little friendly reminder for your grandmother. Next we move on to the uses information of the application that we have out right now, that the Weather Channel has out right now. Mobile users who use the application have been to the weather company 42 million times, each a different person. And the next website that they own, the Weather Channel, also generated 42 million users in just 1 month of May 2013. And that's just in the US alone. For the web, on just desktops and computers, the weather company had 54 million unique users, and the Weather Channel had 48 million unique users. What I like about this is that other companies that are following behind them, AccuWeather and WeatherBug in this example, are not even double, not even half of what the weather company and channel has been putting up for a good amount of time. And now we'd like to move it on to my associate Grant to say our recommendations for this project.
So our recommendations for the weather company are threefold. The first is on the international side. We recommend that they dissolve the international division they had, focusing primarily on international efforts globally, and instead incorporate these functions into what they call global marketing groups. And what these global marketing groups will do is exactly what their name implies. Market and get the word out for the digital offerings they have internationally through strategic partnerships, as well as just the offering of these platforms as their standalone offerings. Second is, as a whole, use the digital offerings they have existing, the app, their website, and a few others, and expand upon those. This is the way of the future as more and more people start using smartphones, TVs, laptops, things like that. The digital aspect is a lot more appealing, and as opposed to the traditional television route that they've relied on for so long. However, we don't recommend getting rid of that television. There is a definite use case for that, and we recommend using the forecasters they have and the meteorologist on air to use the data that the television provides in the local markets and go a little bit more in depth. Build that rapport with the viewership, become the trusted source they are across the United States, and go a bit deeper with that information they offer, with a little bit more analysis, long-term forecasting, and using that human capital they've invested in and developed. And the way we kind of sum this up is that there are definitive use cases for both. On the television side, you are at home, you're willing to consume this to spend a little bit more time in front of your television, looking at the information and going a little bit more in depth. On the mobile side, you're mobile, you're on the go, you want information at your fingertips. It's not as in depth, but is still just as valuable. So in summary, these are the three areas we feel the Weather Channel can focus on and experience incredible growth and incredible prosperity in the future. Thank you.